can get started this morning. I'm Sue Driscoll. I'm the Volunteer Program Manager at United Way of East Central Iowa. I'd like to thank all of you for being here. And I'm going to first off introduce John Banks. He's on our board at United Way of East Central Iowa and a very avid volunteer. So he's going to talk a little bit about his experience. Good morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Good morning, everyone. Can everybody hear me? Yes. Well, good morning and welcome to our volunteer breakfast. It's great to see so many faces and those interested in volunteering. I'm John Banks and I'm a board member with United Way. And I welcome you this morning. I hope everyone's gotten a bagel and a cup of coffee or orange juice, and we'll get on with the program. Today we're going to talk about volunteering, and we're going to hear from some volunteers, some local agencies who need volunteers. Many United Way's agencies need two things to make their missions happen. One, they need money, and money sometimes is easy to give and it's sort of faceless way to give, and they need volunteers. Without money and volunteers, many of these agencies can't carry out the missions that, for the reasons they exist in their community. I want to start with, what's a definition of a volunteer? I looked this up in the dictionary yesterday just to make sure I understood what a volunteer, what the definition was, and what I got off the Merriam-Webster dictionary on the internet was, volunteer is a person who voluntarily undertakes or expresses a willingness to undertake service, such as someone who enters into military service voluntarily, or someone who renders a service or takes part in a transaction while having no legal concern or interest, or someone who receives a conveyance or transfer of property without giving valuable consideration. Volunteering is giving your time, which is one of the hardest things for us all to give. For me, volunteering is freely giving my time and my talents to another person or persons. It's the action that shows someone that I cared enough to give that time and be there for them. It's more personal, more meaningful than giving cash, and it's also the most difficult thing I think we can give. Let me back up though and start to tell you a little bit about me and my background. I didn't have this initially in what I was going to share, but as I was driving down this morning, actually I woke up this morning and had a scare. I saw Sue on TV at KCRG, and I was like, what time did this start? Was I supposed to be earlier? And then my wife said something to me, and she said, well, listen, this is what you're speaking at. And I said, yes, it is. And she reminded me that back in 2005, I believe it was, I was nominated by the Linn County Center for Nonprofits and received the Governor's Award for volunteering. Received that award because of time I gave a very important endeavor for this community, which was associated with Orchestra Iowa, back then the Cedar Rapids Symphony, and gave an enormous amount of time in the search for Maestro Tim Hankiewicz, and got recognized for that and some other efforts that were involved there. But volunteering has been very personal to me, and since that time I've moved on to a lot of other things, and I volunteered in many different ways. Some of those are just in the different boards that I serve on. As I mentioned, I work here with United Way, also serve on the board at Orchestra Iowa still, and one of my most important boards I work with is Big Brothers Big Sisters, where for 3 years I served as the board president, went on now to join the board of trustees, and have also been matched for 6 years with a young man who's now at Washington High School. That match was probably the most rewarding piece of volunteering that I did. Even though I have 2 sons of my own, I had to find time to meet with this young man, both in school and out of school. We started our match at Polk School, and I gotta say, we started as a lunch buddy, and Christy, who's speaking after, will tell you a little bit about these programs. But as a lunch buddy, it was, no matter how bad my day was at work, there was nothing more rewarding than showing up at Polk School. And when you're 6'8" and you walk into Polk School, there isn't a child who wants to know how tall you are and can you touch the ceiling. And amazingly, except for in the lunchroom, if you haven't been Polk, the lunchroom, the ceiling in Polk was about the only ceiling I couldn't touch. So I touched a lot of ceilings in Polk, but I felt like I touched a lot of kids as well. We started in 3rd grade, and as I mentioned, Deshaun is now at high school. We're no longer matched, but we still keep in touch. Our relationship started just meeting at lunch. We have a delicious school lunch prepared by the cafeteria cooks at Polk. We'd move on up to the library, we'd read books, we'd play games. Some of his favorite games were chess and Uno. When the weather was nice, we'd be outside, and that's when I think I had the most fun, even though I might have been in a suit and tie. Playing kickball in a suit and tie is not easy, but Deshaun had many friends, and each of his friends needed matches as well. And that was the other thing, besides feeling a rock star and being asked, can you touch the ceiling? There were always kids at Polk who wanted to know when were they going to get a match. There continues to be a huge need for volunteers to be matched with children, and it's one way in which volunteers can step in and really make an impact on a child and provide that adult guidance within their lives to help them understand their full potential. And so now, like I said, Deshaun and I aren't matched, but we keep in touch, and I really look forward to the day that I get a text or a call from him and he tells me he's graduating from Washington High School and that he's going on to college, I hope. I hope I've made a big enough impact on him to have him understand the importance of education and help him realize his potential. And from that, hopefully making him a more useful member of our community here at Cedar Rapids, which I think is the overall mission of what it meant to be a big and a match with a little. As I mentioned, volunteering is a lot about giving your time. And all of us, when we look at the community, what we give back to community, we all have three things we can give. We can give time, talent, and treasure. I'd say treasure is the easiest thing to give. It's easy to open your wallet and give $1. But I'd ask, when was the last time you donated $1 and actually put a smile and saw the smile that you put on someone's face? When you give your time, whether you're volunteering as a big, whether you're helping out in your child's classroom, whether you're doing, maybe it's simply stuffing envelopes for an agency, you're usually thanked, and that person you're helping out has got a big smile on your face. I've known and I've experienced it, and that's probably the most rewarding thing that you get, is that feedback from knowing that you've actually helped someone, you've created time for them, you've helped them move their mission forward, realize their potential. When you think about time, it's difficult to give, and time is limited. We can all work, we can change our jobs, we can earn more money, we can give more treasure, but we're limited with time. If you've ever added it up, there's only 24 hours in a day, which means we only have 8,760 hours in a year that we can give. Of those, you work about 2,500 of those. Some of us look like we're not working, we may be retired, congratulations to you. But also we sleep about another third of those, about 2,900 of those hours we sleep with our eyes closed, and we're not doing anything but recharging our bodies. Our families pick up about another 1,200 hours of those, and that leaves about 1,400 hours that we have to decide what we're going to do with those hours. Is it ourselves? Is it our community? And I would challenge you, think about how you're going to invest those 1,400 hours. What can you do with 1,400 hours? The governor's challenging all of us to give 100 hours a year, and I'd ask to think about being a volunteer and helping your community by finding time in your days to do some volunteering and give 100 hours a year. With that, next, I want to invite Christy Hansen, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, to come up and take it over for me and share a little bit about that agency, which is very dear to me.
I got involved with Jeremy as a lunch buddy, first of all, back at Polk about 4 years ago. And then we decided to get what's called a community match, community-based match. And we've been hanging out doing stuff every week or two for about 3 years now.
At first, I wasn't a good student. And then Steve helped me realize that I can get somewhere in life if I am. So I try as hard as I can now at school. At first I used to just blow it off, and then he helped me.
I've found a lot of joy in just showing him how you can learn something all the time, just by asking questions. And I can tell you one of the good things I've felt in the last year or a little more is how Jeremy is starting to ask deeper and better and more questions just about everything. We will end up at a place like the library. We'll ask a question as we're just driving to grab a burger or something. I'll say, that's a great question, let's go look it up.
The school district utilizes volunteers for a variety of reasons, but one of our most key areas is reading and literacy support. We have over 7,000 registered volunteers in the Cedar Rapids School District, and many of those work with students on their reading skills.
I know that reading helped me get through high school and college. It's just the foundation for any other classes you might take when you're older. So I feel it's important to work with kids on reading.
The opportunity to have volunteers in the classroom helps our teachers be able to focus on their jobs, so we certainly rely on volunteers to provide that extra set of hands and that extra help. But having another adult read with them helps to strengthen students' interest in reading when they see adults care about them and care about their reading skills, and in turn that does improve their achievement in reading.
We have volunteers read with students one-on-one or in small groups, and it is really important because some students don't have anyone that reads to them at home, so it's nice to have an adult that cares read to them here.
Most classes rely on reading, even math story problems. Starting in third grade, if you don't know how to read, you'll be behind in most subjects, and so I just feel it's important to teach kids to value reading.
A lot of people can share a little time, and it's no cliche, you'll get more than you ever give. It's a wonderful thing to point out to Jeremy, to point out to anybody that once you discover that learning is fun, everything opens up and everything is possible.
Thank you, and thank you to John for the introduction. I'm Christy Hansen. I'm the program director at Big Brothers Big Sisters, and I'm here today to talk not only about the opportunities through Big Brothers Big Sisters, but about opportunities that are throughout our entire community. At Big Brothers Big Sisters, John touched base on the site-based program that we have. We also have a community-based program where individuals can get together with a child, meeting on the weeknights or weekends and enjoying things that are interests of both of them, both the little and the big. We have 11 different partnerships of school sites, site-based throughout the community, and we extend much beyond that. We serve Lynn, Benton, and Jones County. We are one of more than 80 mentoring programs, certified mentoring programs that are in the community today. And we are taking part in what Volunteer Iowa is calling the Coaches Mentoring Challenge. The Coaches Mentoring Challenge is coming to us as a competition, a friendly competition between a tri-state area. It includes Iowa, Nebraska, and Kansas. And what we're seeing today is that across the country we have 15 million kids who are in need of an adult, caring volunteer that's willing to spend their time mentoring, showing a positive role model, showing what it means to be engaged in the community and care about your future. And in Iowa alone, there's a need of over 3,000 kids to be matched with an adult. Specifically, we see a huge shortage in our male mentors that are involved in our community. And so with the help of some of our state college and universities, we're seeing that Coach Farley, Coach Rhodes, and Coach Ferentz are actually stepping up to this challenge and getting behind Coaches Mentoring Challenge. It's all about showing a child what you can do, showing a child a positive influence in the community. And if it's easy for you, think back to somebody in your life that made a difference. Maybe it was a coach, maybe it was a teacher, maybe it was somebody that encouraged you. That's all that it takes. It's very easy, it's a conversation, it's shooting hoops, it's playing catch, it's going to the park. Those kinds of things that will make a difference in the life of a child and make a big impact for them. So we're looking to close the gap. I mentioned 3,000 kids in the state of Iowa that are looking for a mentor. We have nearly 120 kids at Big Brothers Big Sisters that are signed up waiting for a mentor today. As you can see, we're a little bit behind where Kansas is. This competition started August 1st. It will go throughout the football season. We have until November 30th to catch up. We want to win this. We want to create 4,000 new mentoring relationships in the community. Where we're at today is just over 500 in the first month. I think we can do it. I think we can pull together. We can make an impact together. But it takes you, like John said, giving your time. Giving a little bit of time. Maybe an hour, maybe 4 hours a month. It's going to the schools, it's having lunch. It's going into the schools, it's reading. It's going into the schools and taking a child out to the playground, walking the trail with them. It's meeting a child at your home on a weeknight and sitting around your dinner table, showing them what that looks like. What we're looking for is no specific skill in mentoring. It doesn't take training, it doesn't take anything but a big heart and a little bit of time. So what I'm asking you is to help us close this gap. We're looking for 3,000 mentors. The goal is 4,000. We want to see Iowa come out of this ahead. We want to beat Nebraska. We want to beat Kansas. And the week of December 7th, we'll have an announcement who that winner was. Last year, in this Tri-State Challenge was the first year we did this, and we created over 10,000 mentors in the 3-month period of time. This year, we want to top that. We want to get 20,000 mentors within 2 years. And I think we can do that with the help of you. Today, we have some of our mentoring agencies here. Go talk with them. Find an opportunity that's right for you. Remember that there's over 80 certified mentoring programs in the area. So we're only just a few of them, but we are an opportunity. If you're looking for some way to get involved, come talk with one of us today. You can also go to volunteeririowa.org. They have all 80 mentoring partnerships listed there. You can find out more information on that website as well. I have flyers that are also on your tables today showing Coaches Mentoring Challenge. It gives you an idea of the state level coaches that are behind this. We also have many of our local high school coaches that are behind this too. If you're part of the schools, get your coaches on board, get your gym teachers on board. We want to see more and more adults in our community supporting this initiative. And it starts with you. 1 hour, a little bit of time, and a big heart. Thank you. Next I have Jim Green, who's going to be coming up and talking about America Reads.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning, Jim.
Still awake? Yes? Okay, good. Glad to hear that. I'm here to tell you about one specific, I'll stick it in my pocket, it's not going to flip. One specific opportunity that you might find a lot of fun, because I find a lot of fun out of it, and that's America Reads. It started in 97, I believe, in the Cedar Rapids School District, and it has grown to the entire metro area. It's an opportunity for you to spend a half hour, about a half hour or so, walk into your neighborhood elementary school, grab your favorite book, maybe a book that you like to read to your grandchildren or your children, those of you that have children, and just share your joy of reading. I love seeing that video and how much emphasis there was on reading. I'm a longtime school board member, in addition to some of my other volunteer activities, and we always tell ourselves that grades 1 through 3, we're teaching children to read. You're learning to read. Beyond grade 3, you're reading to learn. So reading is really, really important for the success of the rest of the school career. This is a fun opportunity, and I've done this many years, so that they asked me to come tell you about it, because I always participate in America Reads. You simply decide that you want to sign up, you want to go in and read a book to some kids. You walk, first of all, parking is free. You go to your neighborhood elementary school, there's no meters. So you can drive in and park for free. There's always plenty of parking around. Walk in the front door, and the smiling people are there, ready to greet you. I've done my reading at the Linmar District, and there's always this little basket of candy, and they've got a bottle of water. Do you need a bottle of water before you go in to read? No, that's fine. They're just so nice and friendly. They know you're there to help. And at your appointed time, you have a set calendar time, a student will come to you at the front door and lead you to the classroom. So you don't have to get lost in the building. You didn't need to know where you're going to go. The students are there to take you. And they love having adults come in to read. Or even sometimes it's high school. Imagine the thrill of a third grader if the quarterback from the high school football team comes in to read to or someone they've seen on television, or one of us who remind them of the grandparents. They just think this is great, and the teachers love it. They set aside time for us. All you have to do is sit there, read a book to the kids. It takes about 20 minutes of reading, half hour, and trust me, if you get beyond a half hour, the teacher is going to send you a lot of signals because they have a lot of other things planned for the day, and you're not the only thing that they need to get done that day. So it's really an easy opportunity to participate in your neighborhood school, really help out a group of 25, 30 students all at once, and you're done in a half hour and you're ready to go back to home or continue your day, whatever it is. So I really am here to encourage you to sign up for America Reads. Now this is happening in all the metro area schools. So it started in Cedar Rapids Community Schools a while back, but Linn-Mar is involved, Marion Independent is involved, College Community is involved, and the Metro Catholic schools are involved. So all 5 districts, you can volunteer in any one of those areas. There are flyers on your table that look like this, and it's got all the contact information on there. The best way to sign up is to go to the Cedar Rapids School District website. We're using high tech here, and they volunteered to use their website to coordinate for all the school districts in the metro area. I found when I went on there the other day to sign up that you have to kind of search a little bit to find it's not right out in front on the main page. We got to fix that. At least for the next couple of weeks.
I think by 9 o'clock today it might be on the home page. Thanks.
There you go. That'd be wonderful. At any rate, there's a simple form to fill out. Put your name, contact information. You can choose which school district you want to volunteer in, which school you want to volunteer in. I'm assuming I'm going to get the 2 that I selected. One of the 2 that I selected. So I was here just to explain what the opportunity is. I think you can understand how valuable it is based on what you saw there on that video. Just talking about big brothers, big sisters, and some of the mentoring that goes on there is really neat to see that pair end up in the library. Because, by the way, the Metro Libraries are also sponsoring this organization, sponsoring this program. So we want to give them a plug there too. It really is a neat community activity. I've done it for a number of years now, and I always look forward to it. I'm digging through all those books that I saved, when my kids were growing up. I said, we'll need these for my grandkids. And so some of them are got scribbles on them and that kind of thing, but we go through the pile and haul those out. If you don't have that collection of books at home, by the way, I should mention that the media center, the librarians in the elementary buildings have a whole stack of books that you can pick from. So you don't even need to bring your own books. The school will provide those. And it's really fun for me to say, have you heard about this book yet? Nobody in the room has read it. So I read them the story and I said, you can find this book in your library. It's right here in this building. And again, they encourage the students to use the facilities of their building. It really is a lot of fun. I have trouble with second graders. Their attention span is not the same as what I like them to have. So I tend to go to the 4th grade, 5th grade. But some of you, if you really want to have a fun experience, go read to kindergartners and 1st graders. That's really exciting. So that's enough of my speech. I hope I've convinced you. Take a look at the information on the flyer that's on your table, and we'd love to see you. I should mention the dates one more time. October 18 is Linn-Mar, Marion, and the Metro Catholic schools. We split it up over 2 days. October 19, then, College Community will be participating along with the Cedar Rapids School District and all their, how many elementaries?
Sign up by October 1.
Deadline for sign up is October 1. So you have, what, a week, 10 days, about that? But it really is fun, and I think you'd really enjoy it. If you haven't done it before, I encourage you. Thanks very much.
Your turn.
Morning. My name is Jessica Link, and you might have seen on Jim's screen there, it said RSVP volunteer. Maybe you weren't familiar with what RSVP is, but RSVP is Retired and Senior Volunteer Program, and we're sponsored here by United Way. And we work with volunteers age 55 and over to meet critical community needs and to enrich the life of our volunteers through service. Simply put, we help people who want to help others. We work with volunteers placed in the schools and in mentoring programs and in after-school programs, as well as a variety of other organizations in our community. And we're proud to support America Reads, both as a sponsor and through our volunteer efforts. And I'd like to thank our RSVP volunteers who are here today. You might have seen them. John pointed out there were some retirees here, and we sure got them. These individuals today represent a small portion of our over 400 RSVP volunteers in Lynn and Jones County. Last year in 2011, they did over 71,000 hours of volunteer service in these two counties. They're quite remarkable. On a personal note, I have had the opportunity to be a literacy tutor in my past. The young man I had the pleasure of working with, when we started working together, he didn't know his alphabet. He was 19, and he was a high school graduate, and he didn't know his alphabet. Damon and I worked together for 10 years. He missed all of this. He missed the impact of a big brother in his life. He missed having a tutor, somebody come in and read to him. He fell through the cracks. And I admit working with Damon was a big time commitment. We worked together 2 nights a week for about 3 years before I moved up to the Cedar Rapids area. But it was also one of the most rewarding and influential things I've ever done in my life. And our friendship continues on despite moving states away. We stay in contact and our kids play together when I go home to Kansas City. That means a lot to me. But let's be honest, I don't have that time now. I was single then. I'm married. I have 2 kids. I have a house that I try to keep put together. I work a full-time job. I don't have that kind of time. But I have 30 minutes. I have 1 sitcom's worth of time. 1 rerun, I've got it. It takes me longer to convince my 3-year-old to brush her teeth and go to bed than 30 minutes I can spend with the youth. And I'd like to spend that time helping another Damon not fall through those cracks. I bet you have 30 minutes too. So I encourage you to visit one of our agencies here today to learn more about how your 30 minutes could make a big difference in the life of a youth here. And maybe reading isn't your thing. Maybe it's science, maybe it's math, maybe it's mentoring, maybe it's coaching. You've got 30 minutes. Let's see how you can put it to work. We're fortunate to have with us here today some representatives from Big Brothers and Big Sisters, from the Children of Promise mentoring program, and volunteer coordinators from all of our school districts, College Community, Cedar Rapids, Linn-Mar, Marion Independent School Districts. We don't have somebody from the Catholic school districts, but you can still get involved. So I invite you, they're kind of set up around the room here, so I invite you to go ahead after we're done presenting today, grab a bagel, grab some coffee, go and visit with one of these representatives to find out how you can help. We also want to encourage the America Reads event, and we can make it even easier than searching on the website. We have 4 computer stations back there that you can go sign up today before you leave right now. We'd love to get 100% participation here today of people who want to read for 30 minutes. Nobody should graduate high school without knowing the alphabet. There's something you can do to help that with just 30 minutes. Maybe you'll spark that imagination. Maybe you'll incite that individual to learn, to go check out a book from their library, one that you just read to them today, and take it home and maybe read to their family or read to their little brothers or sisters. It's kind of amazing how one step can help somebody stop falling through those cracks. I'd like to thank, on behalf of United Way, John and Christy and Jim for coming here and sharing your stories today. Again, I encourage you to stop back and read, and thanks to all of our volunteers who are already out there doing things, whether it's at 4 Oaks or in the college schools district. We have quite a few volunteers here who help out. We even have a volunteer from RSVP here who was one of the volunteers of the year from her school. So we're really proud of them. They do great work. We encourage you to get out there and join them. Again, grab some breakfast, grab some coffee, take a few minutes, and make it a good day. Thanks for coming.